You're listening to KCYP 97.7 The City. This is Scarlet Rose, and you're now listening to RGV Rocks. You are listening to KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City. This is Scarlet Rose, along with my co-host,
Rocket Rudy.
And welcome to RGV Rocks. KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City is a nonprofit organization that promotes local artists such as myself and is the home of indie music. We are now accepting donations to our website, www.thecity977.com, and as well as sponsorships to keep this radio station thriving. For more information on paying donations, sponsorships, or business advertisement, feel free to contact Joe Martinez at 956-789-0702 or by email martinezjoe@hotmail.com. I'll also be leaving the donation in the link below where the description is, and as well as be sure to subscribe to our Patreon as well. We have exclusive perks along with that as well. Now we're doing our thing where we kind of do like Patreon shout outs at the end. So not only will we be giving like shout out to y'all listeners, but as well as those who sign up with our Patreon. So thank you so much. Also, if you want to be our sponsor for this show, especially contact Joe Martinez, please. We need a sponsor for our show because I know that we haven't had a sponsor in a while. I think ever since we've done in-person interviews. I think so, right, Rudy?
Yeah, I would say so since we left the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So for people that don't know who we are or what we do, RGV Rocks is a radio show and now an online podcast dedicated to local talent, events, and all the wonderful people in the RGV, such as you and I. Rock and Rudy, do you want to give us very special guests a welcome?
Of course I do. I really do. I'm so excited. A very talented multi-instrumentalist. This lady knows how to play all kinds of instruments. Drums, bajo sexto, guitars, bass, piano, organ. She is really, really talented. The one and only, soon to be more famous than a lot of people that we know. We won't mention names, but here she is from Brownsville, Texas, Miss Theta Jane. How you doing, Miss Jane?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So I did say you're out of Brownsville. You did say you're born and raised there, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. So let us know before we do get started. Of course, Miss Scarlet Rose always have a question to say. Go ahead, Miss Scarlet Rose.
Oh yes. So usually how we ask one of our interviewees or any one of our interviewees here on the station, we usually ask our very special question, and that is, what do you like about the RGV and why?
Okay, well, the first thing I like about the RGV is that, it's home. I went to study for a semester in Denton at the University of North Texas in Denton. And I really missed the RGV. I would say that my favorite thing about the RGV, though, other than the fact that it's home, is the Mexican food. Because when I was up there at Denton, the Mexican food was not what it is as it is here. And I just missed the tamales, and I missed the bistec tacos and all that stuff. That's I would say would be what I'm most proud of, to say, oh, well, if you come to Brownsville, you come to McAllen, Harlingen, make sure to try the Mexican food, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard not to, right?
It's true, especially because I know it's really different, especially like the food versus like here in the valley versus up there. It's more blander. I'm not gonna spread any like hate towards like north of Texas, but you have more flavors down here, especially because we're near like the border. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's also what's part of the culture aspect of like having the tacos there and like everything else, like Mexican food wise. I think that's pretty cool. So Rudy,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Brownsville got Matamoros right next door, so for sure, a lot of great authentic Mexican food there and everything. So, Miss Theta Jane, let us know. I mean, I know that you're getting ready to drop a second album. The first one you did it back in 2019. And that one was Rotten Teeth. The second album is self-entitled Theta Jane. and you still haven't released that one. But let us know, how did you come up with this song and the album, the name, of course, after your name?
How did I come up with my stage name? Or
No, well, yeah, that too.
okay. Well, I came up with my stage name because I have a fascination with death, as blunt as that sounds. I'm always thinking, or not always, but most of the time I think about death a lot, and I'm very philosophical, and I'm very like, I'm always asking questions and stuff like that. And mostly it's like about like death, or like what happens after we die, or what does it feel like to be dead, or stuff like that. So the name Theta is actually just a bunch of letters scribbled up into death. So if you re-scribble Theta, it dispels death. And Jane, I wanted to get something that I wanted to pick a name that kind of reminded me of like the 90s aesthetic, because I really like the 90s, and I really am kind of proud that I was born in the 90s. And so there's this song called Me Jane by my favorite artist called PJ Harvey. What's one of my favorite songs, and it just says Me Jane, and I just thought, hey, Theta Jane, I'm Theta Jane, you know? So it just kind of worked itself out in that way. I came up with that some years ago, before 2000, way before 2019, and I was like, you know what, nobody else has this name. I think I'm gonna call myself this, Theta Jane. And so I decided to name this second album Theta Jane because my first album, it was good. I would say it was good, but I want to not start over, but I want to start clean, because my first album, there were some things that I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't know how to release it. I didn't know how to market it properly. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I was kind of on my own. And so I want to do things right this time. So I'm kind of starting from the beginning, not really fresh, but kind of from the beginning. I want to start by just saying this is what I have for the world, Theta Jane. It's kind of like my first album, but it really isn't my first album. It's my second album. But this is what I want to present to the world now, because the first album was kind of just a dummy take. It was kind of I didn't really know what I was doing, and this time I've learned and I've experienced some stuff. So now I feel like I know what I'm doing a little bit more and how to release it properly. So that I just wanted to self-title it.
Good, good. So basically, your name is Morbid because it's death all jumbled up, and Jane because of Me Jane. I honestly really thought it was going to be like from Aerosmith, you know, Janie's got a gun.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. I also want to say that, you know, your second album that you're about to release, named after you or titled after you, I think is going to be more successful than the first one, because this one, it does sound like you're marketed it better. And of course, you already know more, you've grown. So you've got more of the experience of what's going on with you in your life with the music. And I wouldn't be surprised if you release your first album again under a different marketing and stuff like that, and maybe even get it out there faster and better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, my sound engineer / producer for this album, Theta Jane, his name is Jesus Vivian. He was actually suggesting that I re-record it and re-release it, which isn't a bad idea, but I kind of want to concentrate on this album first, Theta Jane, and see how successful that is. And then maybe if there's a demand for it, maybe I'll re-release my first album.
That's a good plan. That's a really good plan. Now I think about it, because by that time you're gonna have already your old fans, and as well as like newer fans that come from like this interview, even more that listen to like the album that's coming out. And I feel that that's a really great opportunity, so that way you have newer fans and old fans just collide. Then you have, you know, a lot of people just listening to that album specifically. So I think that's a really good idea that your producer is trying to push that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Heck yeah. You get just more and more people listening to your music like you're doing now. You are in basically in all the platforms out there. How can we listen to your music?
Well, you can listen to my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp. I have a Bandcamp, and you can listen to it completely free on YouTube.
All right, good, good.
Mhm.
And do you have any platforms in case somebody wants to get a hold of you or anything like that? You know, any social media?
Any social media? Yes. I think I have everything except for Twitter. I have Instagram, I have Facebook, and I have well, yeah, I mentioned like Bandcamp, and I think I have a website actually. I have a link tree. So if you put linktree/Theta Jane on the search bar, it's link.ee/Theta Jane. It'll send you a link, or it'll have a link for my website there. It's like the first link that's there. And that's how you can find my website. And in my website, I have like, I'm not gonna say tour dates, I'm gonna say like upcoming shows, you know? I have upcoming shows, and I have a form there where you can send me a request to play at a gig or whatever that is. And I'm gonna put some news there about like the album, and I'm also gonna get a mailing list started. You can actually start signing up for my mailing list at the bottom of the page and in my website. And yeah, it's basically everything you want to find. It's in my link tree and in my website, basically, more than like the social media sites.
Dang, I think this is like the first artist I ever had, like we've had interviewed that's had everything like all together, like all at once. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I was gonna ask actually a really quick question, because you've been doing music for a while.
Yeah.
I saw that you've been writing music for over 10 years. How did that come about for your passion of music?
Okay, well, I started off with I was a dancer when I was a kid. So I danced like tap, ballet, flamenco, folklorico, jazz. So I had a passion for music at a very early age, and I took piano lessons, and I learned how to play the castanets for flamenco. And it wasn't until I was like about 11 or 12 that I got into band at school, and I learned how to play the flute. And I really enjoyed playing the flute. I would practice hours and hours a day. And I eventually made like first chair and stuff like that. And when I was studying music there at that age, I was like, it would be fun to be a composer. Like I would like to orchestrate stuff, and I would like to write, you know, for horns, for woodwinds, for all this stuff. And so I started, by the time I was like maybe 15, I started with this program called Finale on the computer, and I would compose my own things. At that time, my goal was to be a composer. And then so I got to college, and I got into the composition program in Denton, and it wasn't really what I expected. It was kind of not really for me. I discovered that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. They said, you know, like, you know, forget creativity. You have to write whatever. You have to write like fast because you're getting paid for it, and it doesn't matter if it's mumbo jumbo. You have to write. You can't just like feel it. You have to like write it. So at that point, I started leaning towards songwriting, and I tried to teach myself guitar, but I wasn't very good at it. And then I taught myself bass, and I just got more into songwriting. The more I started playing those instruments, and I don't know, I can't. It's around that time, 18, 19, that I started to say, I think I want to be a songwriter instead of a composer.
Mm-hmm.
So like my roots are stem from like composition, but I discovered after getting into the program that I think songwriting was more for me. And when I was on composition classes, we studied a guy called Frank Zappa, and
Oh, I know who that.
An orchestrator, and he's a band leader, and he's a composer, and he's a songwriter. I got really into him, and I figured, I think I kind of want to do what this guy does, you know? And I just felt like that was more for me. And then so that was when I was like 18, 19-ish. And then now I'm 29, and I'm still doing the songwriting thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. And well, I guess you can say you've been doing the songwriting and everything like that for more than 10 years then, right? Like
Mhm.
that's Scarlet Rose?
Yes. Actually going into that, because I noticed that on your profile you're more known as a bassist. What do you want to explain like why you chose the bass over like all these instruments that you've already done?
Okay, well, my main instrument at first, well, I started learning piano first, but I wasn't really into it. I was more into dance. So my main instrument for a long time was flute. And because I would practice that hours and hours a day. And then I decided I wanted to go into bass, because when I was playing flute, I was playing the instrument called piccolo a long time. And the piccolo is a very high-pitched instrument. And I kind of got tired of the high-pitched instrument thing. So I just kind of gravitated towards my bass a little more. So I think that's why I just chose to practice my bass more. So I feel most comfortable with my bass, like on stage, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're an awesome bass player, basically, right? A lot, you play the bass a lot better than you do the piccolo.
No, actually, I think I'm better at piccolo than I am on bass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, what's it called? You're gonna be doing a concert with like the piccolo.
Piccolo bass, yeah.
There you go. When is your next performance? If you have any coming up soon or anything like that, can you let us know?
Yeah, so I believe my next performance is in August. I want to say the 12th, but it's barely being confirmed right now. So I have to double check that. It's supposed to be at the Hop Shop, which is a place that I play at quite often.
It's in San Benito.
I'm sorry?
The Hop Shop in Harlingen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right off of 77. I know exactly where that's at. Commerce.
Yeah, it's there, that fork. Yeah, I play there quite a bit. It should be August 12th. I need to update that on my website, because there are some shows on my website that are actually canceled. So I need to update that, which is something that I'll do today for sure. But August 12th should be my next performance.
All right.
Wow.
Speaking of performances, how long have you been performing?
Oh, well, I've been performing since I was a little girl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because when I was in dance, I did a lot of recitals. So I got used to performing first with a group of people, and then when I was a teenager, I think that's when I started performing solo with my instruments, like whether it be flute or piano. So I would say almost all of my life I've been performing.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Speaking of which, because I know that you've already even like in your website, you have like a little picture of you like performing on stage. When was that? Was that like during, before, or after COVID?
I believe you're talking about like the kind of the first picture on my website.
Yes.
Yeah, that was post COVID. So
Oh
I was one of those people that was not performing during COVID. So I didn't perform for like, let's see, COVID hit when I was 27, and I didn't perform again until I was like 28. So it was like a year that I was not performing, which is really depressing. But yeah, that happened after COVID. I want to say that picture is from 2021 or 2022 or early 20,
Yeah,
late
that's how
2020.
COVID in 2020 is when they shut everything down basically, and then
Mm-hmm.
little by little started opening up, 20%, 40% and stuff like that. But I would say it's good to see that, if anything, because of that year's rest, it made you stronger. That COVID helped you out, and it did help out a lot of musicians, and some of them, it didn't help out, and I feel sorry for those who didn't keep going with their career or still struggling to get up there. But a lot of them, a lot of artists such as yourself that did embrace it, and they grew stronger, about on it, and that's exactly what I see happen with you here, because you actually do sound like you got more educated now with the music and your talent, and how the way to produce and record and also release and advertise your music.
Oh yeah, I think so. I really do, because I came up with a whole song in my next album, Theta Jane. There is a whole track in there that was written, for the most part, it was written during the shutdown. So
wow.
I was able to utilize that time to write a whole new song. So it was great. It wasn't good. It wasn't that great, but it was good in the sense of writing a new song,
Mm-hmm.
It was good enough to be on the album.
Yeah.
I have what's it called? One more last question for you, Theta. I was gonna ask. So you are also part of a band called the Vens. Do you want to talk about a little bit more about that?
Sure. So this year I barely joined a McAllen-based band called the Vens. They are like indie experimental, I would say. We have a synth player, guitar player, me, the bass player, and a drummer. It's a 4-piece. And I don't know when our next show is actually. Our next show should be probably in like November, maybe. So far. But yeah, I barely joined them, I think in January or February of this year. So it's fairly new for me. I still haven't learned. I think I've learned like 95% of their songs. So I still need to learn like a couple more. But yeah, it's really fun. They're great guys, and I'm really happy to be making music with them.
Nice. The Vince. Okay, so we won't hear from you guys until November, then, more or less, huh?
Yeah, hopefully if we get a new show before then maybe, but so far I think it's November.
Well, I want to tell you right now, me and Scarlet Rose can't wait to go see you perform either by yourself or with the Vince. Just let us know. And August the 12th, I don't know if we'll be able to make that show, but if we can, we will. But just let us know, and we're more than happy to see what we can do and get out there and scream and yell and shout your name.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll always update as frequently as I can of the website about my upcoming shows. So if I don't get to remind you guys, it'll be there.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say to Scarlet Rose, she's my producer here and everything like that, and my co-host on this awesome show. I hadn't been on the show lately because I had gotten sick and I had gotten a broken tooth and all this other stuff. I looked like the yellow man and so, but I went back and I feel good and I am so glad that I was able to sit here with her and interview you. You know, and I was just noticing you right now. I mean, you're sitting up real nice and straight and everything, and you got a little flower on your hair there. That's like a Plocorico stuff going on there, you know. Todo Bronzeville, puro Matamoros.
What's it called? I know we're nearing the end of our show now. Now I think about it. Theta, do you want to have do you have any social media you want to plug in really quick? I know that we already talked about it before, but do you want to do it again so that way for people that are barely listening in?
Sure. So I have the social media that I use the most is Instagram. The Instagram is Theta Jane Official. That's where I update like most of my things. And on Theta Jane Official, you also see a link to on my bio, you'll see a link to the Vens, which is the band that I'm in now. And you'll also see a link to my personal profile in case you want to. I also post Theta Jane stuff on my personal profile too. I do have a Facebook, Theta Jane, but unfortunately I don't use it very much because I don't have enough money to have ads. So I kind of I'm not supposed to, but I kind of neglect the Facebook page a little bit. I have a Bandcamp. I believe it's I think it's thetajane.bandcamp.com, where you can find my music there. Not unfortunately not my new album yet, but you have Rotten Teeth there, and then I have a special version of my single Paper Love that's not on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube or anything like that. But yeah, those are my social medias, and I will make a Twitter. I have to make a Twitter. Everybody else has a Twitter. I just don't use it, but yeah.
I have a Twitter and I don't use it. And for some reason or another, I keep getting stuff over my my email. Somebody's trying to log into my Instagram, and it's so funny. I never got an Instagram. You know what I mean? So got to be careful too with those those hackers. They're terrible out there. Also, Miss Theta Jane, do you want to send out any shout outs to anybody? Parents, children, husband,
I just want to say I love you, Mom, and I don't know if you're gonna watch this, but but thank you for all your support for my music, because my mom is my biggest supporter for my music. She takes me to all my shows and stuff. So just shout out to Mom.
Nice. Let me ask you another $1 million question here. Do you live with Mom?
I sure do.
All right, here you go. That's okay. Just want to make sure. Well, as far for me, I want to send out a big old shout out to all the beautiful listeners out there and those who are viewing us as well here on 97.7 FM The City, RGV Rocks segment, of course. And a big old shout out to my co-host, Miss Scarlett Rose there. And you too, Miss Theta Jane. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this awesome show with us. Can't forget my two beautiful girls, my daughters, Trinity and darling Dre, my grandson, Carson. And the beautiful people back here at 54th Street, where I'm at over here in San Antonio, Megan and Lindsay, big old shout out to them out there. They're the bartenders, by the way. So they're great people here. I love them all. They're awesome. And I thank you once again, Scarlett Rose, for letting me come back in, even though I'm not sick no more.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we missed you, Rudy. I think it's already been like 3 episodes without Rudy.
It was, and I wanted to do that episode with Purple Villain and Anacrid, or what is it called? And the spider guy.
Yeah. Oh, Arachnid.
Yeah, that one. I really wanted to do that one too, but I missed it. That's when I got sick. So, but here we are.
Well, I want to give a special shout out to everyone listening. Of course, if you guys want to have a special shout out to you all, just make sure to subscribe to our Patreon. It'll be in the description below, as well as donate to the city, not the city like the McAllen, it's the city, the station. So that will also be in the description below if anybody wants to donate. But as far as if you guys want to check us out, learn more about what we do on our show, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is just RGV Rocks, and Twitter is Rocks RGV. Once again, Facebook and Instagram is RGV Rocks, and Twitter is Rocks RGV. I want to give a special shout out as well to Rock and Rudy because oh my gosh, you make every interview just like wonderful. Especially our guest Theta Jane. Thank you for so much for doing this interview as well. And I especially want to remind everyone, thank you for listening to our Humble Little Show. And we'll be here next time on KCYP 97.7 FMLP, The City.